Welcome to Hidden Planet. I'm Richard Engel, this time from Jerusalem. It's an amazing place. It's mysterious. It is the mother of all churches, the holiest church in the entire Christian world.
This is the place where Christians believe Christ was entombed and then rose from the dead.
I'm Richard Engel. I've traveled to a lot of dangerous places, been caught in the middle of wars and revolutions, but there are also fascinating places that deserve to be explored. Many you won't find in a travel brochure or tour book. And I'm going to take you there. So pack your bags as we uncover our hidden planet. Whenever I'm in Jerusalem, I like to visit the Old City, and this is Damascus Gate. There are 7 gates to the Old City. Damascus Gate leads you straight into the heart of the Old City Market. It's only 1/3 of a square mile, but it contains relics and shrines that are sacred to nearly half the world's population. So not surprisingly, there are plenty of souvenirs for sale for all the pilgrims and tourists. It's sensory overload at its best. Today we're going to visit the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It's an amazing place. It's the mother of all churches, the holiest church in the entire Christian world. And to understand it, you have to go all the way back to the Roman Empire. The ancient Romans, of course, were pagans. But just under 2,000 years ago, the Roman Empire was in decline. Rome was overcommitted militarily, and in the malaise of a groaning, dying empire, a new faith was rising: Christianity. The new faith praised the poor, stressed forgiveness and equality. It threatened to overturn Rome's political and religious order. This battle was critical to the survival of the empire, and eventually the Christians won out when one man, the last important emperor, the last pagan emperor, Constantine the Great, finally converted to Christianity. This was the moment that the Christian community, which had been treated like outlaws, was waiting for. Once Constantine converted to Christianity, so did Rome. But Christianity didn't have any real institutions yet, no big churches. So Constantine decided to create them. In the year 326 AD, Constantine sent his mother, Helena, to seek the location of Christ's crucifixion in Jerusalem. And if the story's to be believed, Helena found the very spot, and much more. She found where Christ was crucified, the actual cross that was used, called the true cross, and Christ's tomb, all close together. On this spot, 7 years later, Constantine founded the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It means Church of the Holy Tomb. And here it is. You don't get a great view of the church from the outside because of all the buildings around it. And that's one of the first things you notice about the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It doesn't look like a church. Even when you're inside, most churches in the world are built in the form of a cross. This is more like a labyrinth. There's a basement, there's corridors. Let's go. The reason for the church's odd shape is that it was built to wrap around the holy sites. This stone, for example, is believed to be the stone where Christ's body was washed after the crucifixion. Up there is the spot that Christians believe where Christ was crucified. Over there is the tomb where he was entombed. The church's layout is complicated, so I was lucky to have Brother Aliata, a Franciscan friar, to give me a tour.
According to the Gospel, all these places were just one originally. It is called the place of the skull. or Calvary in Latin. And according to the research done by archaeologists, in the beginning it was an immense quarry.
Quarries.
Quarry, stone quarry. Exactly in front of us, there is the site of the crucifixion, which is up from the level about 4 meters.
4 meters.
Yes, it is not a big place. It's a small place. There are 2 chapels over there. We can go up.
Okay.
We have here 2 chapels, one belonging to the Franciscan Catholics, and one belonging to the monks Orthodox, Greek Orthodox.
Why is it so chopped up? Why is it that the Franciscan control one piece and the Greek Orthodox control another, and the Coptics control another little piece?
Yeah.
Why all these divisions?
This, I think, is one of the few churches in the world that are divided into different parts. Both churches are very important for all Christianity.
Brother Aliata takes me to the basement. We're entering Armenian territory. The Greeks, Catholics, and Armenians are the biggest stakeholders in the church. They have the most property, the most important areas. And we're going to go down this staircase.
We go down a staircase to the Armenian chapel. According to tradition, in this place, the cross was found.
By Constantine and his mother.
Yes. They brought part to Constantinople, part in Rome, part was left in Jerusalem, and the small pieces went everywhere.
And what about here? Is there still a piece of the true cross in the church?
But not in this place. They are kept into the treasure of the different communities.
And you keep that not here. You keep it in a safe.
Exactly, it's a safe place.
Literally a safe, like a metal door with a combination.
Yes, very in a safe place. Yes, well closed and well protected.
And is it public where it is, or is it a secret?
No, it is secret. Now we go to the place of the resurrection, which is called the Rotunda of Anastasis, the rounded church.
And this is, if you can have a centerpiece in this church, that would be it.
This is the place where everybody
wants to go. And it has that Roman feel. It feels like the Pantheon or something like that in Rome.
Something like that.
With a round structure, with the oculus.
And also the oculus on the top. Originally was open.
Open. The history is fascinating. To the Christian faithful, it is fundamental. But this is also the Middle East. And even in Christianity's holiest place, no one quite gets along. In fact, it can get pretty rough. Fights aren't uncommon here because every church wants a piece of the Holy Sepulchre, but no one knows who owns what. Like all battles in Jerusalem, this is about faith and real estate. And since this church is like a little battleground with all of the different churches fighting for territory, protecting their real estate, almost ironically, the person keeping the peace here is a Muslim. It is a Muslim who has the key to the door.
My name is Jacob Nusebi. I'm the doorkeeper of the Holy Sepulchre.
And why is it, in your opinion, that the key is held by a Muslim man?
To be neutral between all the Christian churches.
To be neutral?
Yes.
We can go
tomb.
inside?
Yes.
Oh, see the tomb itself?
Yes.
Are cameras normally allowed to do this? This is very special.
This is the place where Christians believe Christ was entombed and then rose from the dead. And this is, if you will, the epicenter of the entire Christian world. The place where Jesus died, the place where Jesus was supposedly reborn. And the church is built around it. And it is a place of contemplation.
Around the back of Christ's tomb, there's one tiny chapel. It belongs to the Egyptian Coptic church and isn't much bigger than a phone booth. But don't try to film it. The Coptic monk doesn't like that.
Outside.
Power and possessions in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre are based on an agreement called the status quo. Each church is supposed to have an allotted time for its rituals, but if they go long and run into another church's time, it can get ugly. Armenian Father Superior Samuels says the division of authorities in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is confusing, even to him.
So how does it work? It seems very complicated. You have priests from one denomination come to an area. There are sometimes arguments. How does it work?
Don't you have any arguments in the family members?
Certainly do. There have been some very famous fistfights in here too.
Very much.
Bloody fistfights.
Bloody fist fights, yeah. Unfortunately, that happens. So that's not a Christian attitude, I know. But human are human wherever you go.
And the idea is, if you don't use your space,
Yeah,
and other people start to use it,
Yeah.
then they'll lay claim to it.
exactly.
So that's the idea. You have to make sure you defend your area all the time.
You don't use it, you lose it.
Did you start the fight, or did they start the fight?
Well, that's a question. It depends. If you force me to start, I'll start. If I force you, you will start. Watch out.
Watch out.
Watch out.
And the fighting spirit is still very much alive, as we discovered when we went into an Ethiopian annex of the church. It's a fight we accidentally wandered into.
It's my own property.
Well, you can see that these rivalries are still very, very alive. This is really not so much a dispute with us as it is between the Ethiopians and the Egyptian Coptic Church.
Tensions aside, there is no place like Jerusalem's Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a source of wonder and inspiration for the faithful, a treasure to protect and fight over for the world's churches, and a truly special corner of our hidden planet.